Hey guys, welcome back to another Colourful Keto with Dori. We are here at officially stupid o'clock in the morning in Mountain. It's 8 a.m. and we are going to hang out with Megan Ramos today. I'm so excited. I have not yet got to meet her, and she is going to be speaking at Great Canadian Keto Conference this Saturday. So I'm very, very excited to meet her, chat with her about what she does, who she is, what she's going to talk about at Great Canadian Keto Conference. It is in Toronto, Ontario, if you're able to make it. And I have a secret. I just got an email today that I have free tickets to give away. So I'm going to figure out how we're going to do that. Stay tuned. And there's going to be some free tickets floating around. If you know anybody who is Toronto local and is able to make it, let me know. Miss Megan says she's here on IG, so she should be here any moment. I'm just going to let her know. I'm on live. All you need to do is go to my profile, click on the little play triangle that shows I'm live, and then I'll add you. Oh, there you are. Hello. Hello, darling. Let's go live, shall we? Let's go live. It's almost Friday. If you stand on your tippy toes, you can see Friday from here. My favorite part of the week. Hello!
Hi, we're all connected?
We are! Oh, that's okay.
Dropped here. There's lots of meetings going on around me, so I'm wearing a headset.
That's okay. Our sound is awesome. Welcome to the beautiful Megan Ramos. Tell us all about you.
We just got back from the gym, so I don't know how glamorous I'm looking right now.
Glamour is nothing
I'm in Toronto for once, and it's really nice to have a keto event in Toronto. I have so many patients that always say, okay, you go to the US all the time, you go to the UK all the time. What about us? What about us? There's very few events that happen in Ontario. So this is really great. I'm really looking forward to this weekend. And hopefully by Saturday I won't have any more jet lag. So it'll be good.
I have a feeling you're in a constant state of jet lag, because I see you everywhere, girl. You're speaking everywhere. You're appearing everywhere. You're like boom, 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 boom. I see you everywhere.
I am all over. I'm actually going to be home for the month of September. My husband's like, don't jinx it, like knock on wood or something to make sure. But it's really great. We've learned so much, and we have to share what we've learned. And I'm really excited to be able to share it in the city of Toronto. I've spoken about fasting and fitness and fasting and performance in Toronto, which is nice. I mean, those people need to fast too. But my real passion is metabolic syndrome, and I've just watched so many people suffer over the years, and there just hasn't been an opportunity to share what we've learned in Toronto on such a large scale. So I think Saturday is going to be really great. I'm giving a talk about fasting for obesity and type 2 diabetes. So hopefully, people in the crowd, whether you're new to fasting or not, hopefully you learn something new. I try to cover as much as I could in the 30 minutes. So hopefully everyone gets something out of the talk.
I love it. I'm so excited. Now, I have a question for you, because I will share with you one of the most common comments that I see on Facebook groups. I often get this in private message, and it goes like this. I've been keto for 2 days. I'm fasting. What else should I do? And I'm like, oh, no, not beginner move. Not beginner move. So how do you approach that? Because I get it. Fasting is the buzzword. Everybody wants it. Everybody gets the great results from fasting. So I come across a lot of people who are like, hi, I'm brand new to keto. I want to fast. How do I do that?
Mm-hmm. So, at our clinic, we've actually had a lot of success. We're big fans of the ketogenic diet. I personally follow ketogenic diet. So first and foremost, we fast anybody regardless of what their diet is, because they can get health benefits from it. But I've personally seen so many miracles on a ketogenic diet. I've noticed a huge change in my life since adopting it. So that is a diet we spend a lot of time educating our patients on. But dietary habits, we have so many patients who have emotional issues with food. I was one of them, and I learned from my family. Daddy comes home, daddy's miserable, mommy gives him pasta and potato chips and chocolate milk. Daddy's happy and he goes to sleep, and we have a peaceful.
And everybody's happy when daddy's happy.
So I learned that. So at our clinic, we really people come in, and if they're not doing well, if it's a matter of them getting their numbers down or losing a foot to amputation, we really push them. We just say, fast 7 days. This is your medication. We're going to see you once or twice this week and once or twice next week. But for most people who are new to this and, aren't at risk of losing any appendages or going on dialysis immediately, we just tell them to go back to the basics. Eat 3 square meals a day like our grandparents or great-grandparents did. Cut out the snacking in between meals, and then slowly over time start to cut out the meals and extend that fasting window. And fasting is very much like a muscle. And so today was my first day back in the gym in a couple of weeks, but I go regularly. And I went to do this landmine press squat. And before I was really struggling with a certain weight. And today I added an extra 25 pounds, and it was easier. And that's something I never thought I would ever be able to do. But the point is, I go 3 or 4 times a week. Even when I'm away, I'm really active. Every week, I'm always training consistently. So what I used to struggle with now becomes easy. And that's the same thing with fasting. And it's actually my friend Jimmy Moore who coined this on an old podcast that we used to do. Fasting's like a muscle. And I'm like, you know what, Jimmy, that's like one of the most brilliant things you said. And he said a lot of brilliant things, but it's helped me help so many of the patients that I work with, if they can think of it like that. So, when you're just going to 3 meals a day and not snacking, that can be really stressful for a lot of people, especially when we're used to eating all day long. But eventually that becomes easy. And when it does, then challenge yourself. Don't ever try to do a fasting regimen that is too challenging. Like working out at the gym, you don't want to strain a muscle. You don't want to pull a muscle. You don't want to harm yourself. So just challenge yourself a bit, and it will get easy with consistent practice. And then work on changing the diet. Get rid of the garbage food at home. Start buying better oils and buying better, healthier fats, and not buying as much carbs and less starch. And then really sort of working with someone on the behavioral side of things too, to find other ways to cope with stress and emotional eating. We celebrate with food. We console ourselves with food. What other things can you do? And working with someone that can help guide you through that. So that's our approach. So when someone reaches out and says, I've just been keto for a couple of days and I want to start fasting, that's a lot of big changes at once. So don't ever try to jump in and do like a 7-day fast. Just go back to the basics of proper mealtime. Not snacking is often hugely difficult for so many people, and just let it happen naturally so you don't strain the fasting muscle.
Okay, so let's touch a little on intermittent fasting, because I think that's probably the most common form of fasting, and I'm going to tell you a secret. When I learned about intermittent fasting, I was mad. Dude, I was angry because everybody was talking about this big miracle, intermittent fasting. It's going to change your life. I started to research and I was like, dude, I already do that. That just means I don't eat all day long. I eat in a window. And I was like, but I want all the great and wonderful benefits everybody's bragging about. I'm already doing that. Oh.
We hear that too, especially for people that are already on a ketogenic diet and have pretty well mastered it. They're eating a lot less. The problem is when people have metabolic syndrome and insulin resistance are equal terms. So they're synonymous for one another. So if you have metabolic syndrome, you have a condition called insulin resistance, and insulin resistance itself drives your insulin levels up.
Okay.
So even in the absence of sort of the standard North American diet that's higher in carbs and processed garbage, insulin resistance is going to drive your insulin levels up. So a lot of the times people come to us already like the most impressive keto diets on the planet, and they're really not eating that much, like 16 or 18 hours fasting, occasionally doing some 24-hour fasts, but they hear about other people who are fasting and are getting like these great great energy, mental clarity, other health benefits, perfect A1C levels, and why their stuff's better, but it's not great. And we explain to them that it's great that you're following a ketogenic diet and you're not adding more insulin to the system because you already have a disease of too much insulin. But often once you have that, the disease is going to perpetuate itself and drive your insulin levels up. And we find that often with intermittent fasting is great, but a 16-8 or an 18-6 diet is something we really consider to be a proper eating day. Eating in time-restricted eating windows, not grazing, giving your body a little chance to reset every day and to fast. So it's really the 24 to 36 hour fast where we start to see benefits. So we'll encourage those people to start doing 24 hours of fasting 3 times a week, or do a 30-hour alternative with a 16-hour fast throughout a week, and then eventually work their way up to 36 or 42. And I find once people have already almost ticked off all of their health goals with ketogenic diet, just doing a little bit more intensive intermittent fasting for a few months can finally make them feel like I can conquer the world, and all of a sudden that A1C that was stuck at 5.6 is now 5. And they're that little bit of fat that they have on their belly that they can't get rid of is gone, and the mental clarity is there. And people, it's amazing how many people hide the fact that they take ADHD medication, and then when they stop it once they start fasting. So with intermittent fasting, like a 16-8 or an 18-6, that's how I try to eat on my eating days. And that's what we try to work with patients. But we find that most people need about a 3 to 6 month period, depending on what diet that they're coming off of, doing somewhere between 24, 36 hours intermittently. So about three times a week, or alternating between 30 and 16 hours. And that's usually enough to do it. One of my biggest issues with social media or just mankind in general.
Humans in general?
Sorry, I can't hear you.
I said humans in general?
Humans in general, is that we're an extreme species. So, if we think one day of fasting is good for us, then like 365 days of fasting must be ideal. And it's like, oh my gosh, like for a lot of us, okay, a lot of us have plenty of fuel to feast off of, but it's not necessary. And when my partner, Jason Fung, and I started fasting patients, all of our colleagues were petrified of what we were going to do. So we promised we would only do 24 and 36 hours intermittently. And I mean, that's how we started. And we've worked with over 14,000 people worldwide now, actually just over 15,000 as of last week. And that's how we got to where we are today. So there is a place for the longer fasts, absolutely. Okay. But it's not really necessary. The intermittent fasting, we got we did get all of our patients off of insulin in 3 months or less, just doing 24 or 36 hours intermittently. From our first, we had 88 patients in our first intake into the IDM program.
Now, I'm going to ask you, just due to the sheer numbers of people that you've worked with in fasting, and you may or may not know this answer. I haven't been able to get this answer from anybody. Have you worked with anybody doing fasting that has had a bariatric weight loss surgery? And how does it work for them? Because I know for me, I am in physical pain when I'm hungry. So I intermittent fast every day, but I have never long-term fast because I can't handle the physical pain of being hungry. It's unbearable.
That's interesting. I find so we worked with, I'd say probably a couple dozen or a few dozen people who have had bariatric surgery. One woman that I work closely with, her name's Eve Mayer, and she's actually had it 3 times, like 3 different
revisions.
Times.
Yeah.
It's pretty wild. And I mean, she's done 7 and 10. We did a series on Facebook where she did a 7 and 10 day fast. And there were other hormonal issues that were problematic that are just with women in general during a longer fast. But bariatric surgery patients, I find that the biggest challenge is trying to get them to eat. Actually, they feel, the ones I've worked with have felt better in a fasted state. So on their eating days, I mean, they can't eat these 2 mega meals. You know, we have to like actually spread out their meals over the course of 6 to 8 hours. And as long as they're able to do that, then the fasting tends to go quite well.
Okay.
But with them during their fast, I found that with bariatric patients, it's really important to make sure that there's a lot of electrolyte supplementation happening, like 2 or 3 times as much as I would for a diabetic patient who needs to drop 50 pounds. Okay. So I really encourage bone broth, especially because it's gut healing, or at the very least, a low carb based vegetable broth, which is not really going to do a whole lot in terms of healing the gut, but it's a great vehicle to get salt in. Okay. Pickle juice is something that I often recommend a lot to bariatric people in general, especially if you love bone broth. Yes. And then we really up the amount of magnesium that they take. So I don't know if it's just the sheer quantity. I have them taking probably about at least a tablespoon of salt on days that they are fasting. And I don't know if that perhaps is something that might help you.
Well, I will definitely look into that more because I will tell you a secret. When I first started keto, there wasn't anybody who would give me advice for bariatrics. I literally got, this isn't for you. If you can't eat 12 to 1,400 calories a day, sorry. If you don't ding all the bells, you're not going to lose weight. Not for you. And I was like, but that doesn't make sense. I already know how much I eat. How come I can't eat better food? Like, please tell me I have to eat carbs because I don't eat as much food as you do. And I had to figure it out by myself. There wasn't anybody to help me figure out how to make keto work for me. So do you know of any resources that people like me can seek out if they're looking for specific keto advice to do with their bariatric surgeries?
Oh, geez. That's so bizarre because there's no reason why if you had it, whether it's full gastric bypass surgery or you've had a lap band, whatever it is, why you can't follow a ketogenic diet. Like I said, with people that I've worked with, you know, we don't have like these mega meals. I don't find that to be very productive. Yeah. But you know, eating say 3 meals over the course of 6 to 8 hours, that seems to be helpful. And even I have some people that eat mega meals. I hate to promote my own program, but you can work with one of our coaches at idmprogram.com. Okay. Or I actually find Diet Doctor to be a great website too. They've got lots of low carb and keto recipes. So, and they rate them on the degree of low carb that they are. Okay. So if you're nervous, you can start off with more liberal low carb, and in their search settings, you can just search for recipes that are liberal low carb. And then you can gradually progress if you're nervous about adopting a ketogenic diet approach. But like I said, personally, I worked with a few dozen of them in clinic, and then some online, and we have quite a lot of them online, so I don't see why you can't reach out. The low carb program, it's a great online program as well that you could do. Okay. Every week you get a lesson over the course of 12 weeks, and there are resources in the low carb program for gastric bypass patients as well. But I mean, the consensus amongst my peers, we work very closely with the low carb program and their parent company, Diabetes Digital Media, and the consensus is, don't just break out your meals, during your eating window. But there's no reason why you can't. With gastric bypass patients, or electrolyte absorption is problematic. Okay. So it's the same thing, really, just making sure that you are embracing electrolytes, that you do eat good sources of potassium when you do eat avocados, spinach, salmon, mushrooms, and getting those foods in. And people do really well. So it's just more so the electrolyte and the volume of food that's consumed that we found. So again, the low carb program, you can reach out to the IDM program, either or. Diet Doctor is a great website. There's so many great resources now, I think, that are available.
So let's take a little time to talk about your IDM program, and it's sponsoring at Great Canadian Keto Conference too. So I want to give you an opportunity to really talk about what that program is, how people can get involved, and why you started that, because I have a feeling it's a good story.
So we have our website, idmprogram.com. We have some really monster changes coming for September 2nd, but there's a lot of information up there right now. And what our program is, an online self-guided program on how to start implementing fasting. Okay. Every week you get a couple of emails to help guide you through the process. And there's all kinds of resources. There's live meetups that you can do. Say you want to lose weight, you can join a live meetup. Say you're struggling with behavioral issues like stress eating. We have a psychologist on our team who hosts these behavioral change groups. So it's not just you and your computer. There are ways to connect with a community. So there's a few things: education, community, and environment. And unfortunately, I can't change the environment. I can't make Canada stop selling you chocolate bars at every gas station. But we can try to provide education. Pardon?
But we're counting on you for that.
I'm working on it. But we can provide education, and we can build a community. So it's not just all online. It is online, but there are ways to interact with humans live. If you're nervous about fasting on your own, or you're just not figuring it out, then you can choose to work with one of our coaches and get more personalized coaching. So every coach on our team is someone that Jason and I have handpicked. No one has applied for the job. They've all spent at least 18 months training with us, and they've all been through the program themselves. And they've all had to experience this themselves, whether it was for weight loss, PCOS, fertility issues, diabetes. Because if you can experience it, it's harder to relate. And I've just been through things in my life, and knowing that I've had support that can really relate, it's really made a big difference in my recovery. So we've got a great team that can help guide you. So that's the IDM program. And how we got started is, I'm a clinical researcher in nephrology. Had this funky attraction to kidneys from the time I was 14 years old. And then my colleague, Jason Fong, he's a medical doctor. He's a nephrologist, so a kidney specialist. And when I was 15, I wanted to start doing medical research. I linked up with his nephrology group. He was a young guy on the team that had to do a bunch of projects to prove his worthiness to the older nephrologists. And I was a student that was assigned to him. And then just over the course of working in nephrology, we went from having almost no kidney patients to having to put people on dialysis in a closet because there was no more room on the floor. And that was because of diabetes. So I developed this strong personal drive to be do my research in preventative medicine, especially from a diabetic kidney disease perspective, and how can we detect it earlier, what can we do about it, and simultaneously I was trying to get my diet better, stop eating like a college kid, start eating like an adult, which meant at the time, eat your breakfast, bring your healthy snacks, eat enough fruit. And within a year of doing that, I became diabetic. So I gained a lot of weight. I had PCOS and fatty liver disease. Like, I had the whole metabolic cocktail. And I tried at first following a low carb diet, but I was spoiled 80s baby. By the time I was born in 84, fat was a sin. Most of my family dropped dead in their 50s from heart attacks. So my parents took it to the extreme at home. And it was just tough, and I had two really busy parents, one really sick parent. So we ate McDonald's, pizza, Chinese food. No one ever cooked. No one had the time, and I sure as heck didn't learn to cook. So I was really struggling with the diet, and then I had all these emotional issues around food. It was my crutch through life, for the good and the bad. So it was just easier not to eat. And within a month, I was getting great results. And then I felt better on my fasting days and my eating days, and I didn't want to live life feeling good only 50% of the time. So that really was a kick that I needed to start changing my diet. And it's like, okay, coconut oil, this is what it is. Google how to cook with it and start making some changes. And that's how we started. Within 6 months, I kicked my diabetes to the curb. I got rid of fatty liver disease and PCOS. And in 6 months, I lost 60 pounds, which was great. But I wasn't at an ideal body composition. And I, even though I had dropped to like 125 pounds, I was still 35% body fat. I've lost 86 pounds to date, and I've kept it off now for about 9 years. So, and initially, when I was starting this journey, Jason had pled with our nephrology team, let us do this with patients. And they said, no, you're crazy. You're out of your mind. What the heck's wrong with you? And then they saw my results. And one of the nephrologists, one of the VPs, said, hey, can you start posting your lab test results in the office? And do you mind sharing your weight and your measurements with us? It's just in the office. It's in our section of the office. So I said, yeah. And they just couldn't believe the results that I was getting. And that opened their minds to actually sit down and listen to Jason and I talk about the science behind fasting. So we started off seeing patients in clinic. We still see people in clinic, but not as much because we're busy traveling all over trying to teach other doctors how to do this. We teach one doctor, they can save the lives of 10,000 plus patients. So we try to see more people in our online program, whether it's a self-guided journey with the community or working with our coaches. So that is my long ramble.
Yay! So our Keto on Instagram, my Mama Chaos wants to know if you have any advice for fasting while nursing. She does an 8-16, but I'd like to do a 24-hour, but she doesn't want to. She's worried about sacrificing her milk supply. This is important. And will that affect her milk production?
So usually when women are breastfeeding, we don't encourage them to fast beyond 16, 18 hours, just because it can affect your hormones, and you want to make sure that you have a good quality breast milk that's not going to hinder your child. Fasting's supposed to limit growth in the body. And there's very rare occasions in adulthood where growth is a good thing. Growth often results in things like cancer, for example. So we want to limit growth. But when you're pregnant and when you're nursing, that's a time for growth in the body. So it's not that you should be eating all day long. You shouldn't. You should be eating 2 or 3 meals. I definitely don't think the occasional 24-hour fast is really kill anybody. I mean, we've obviously evolved. It's in 2019. There's definitely a time and a place where pregnant women and women who are breastfeeding were eating and didn't have the food availability that we do today, and we've thrived as a species. Well, I think that's arguable, but
millennials, right?
But 16, 18, I think is good for now.
Okay.
We invite patients back into the program once they've been breastfeeding for 6 months.
Okay.
And a lot of them elect to stop, or they're not breastfeeding as much, or they're supplementing in other forms. So it's okay to fast a little bit more. So just to err on the side of caution, since it's almost next to impossible to do any research, controversial research on pregnant women and women in breastfeeding in general,
Yes.
it's just better to err on the side of caution.
Okay, that's awesome. My Miss Joette Electric, she wants us to know that her bariatric doctor told her last year keto was dangerous. And then when she saw him the other day, she just had her 1 year carnivore anniversary, and she blew her doctor's mind with the results that she's been getting. When a year ago he said, no, that's really dangerous. So I feel like that's how we change the world. Results don't lie. You just put your story out there, you share with everyone you can, and eventually they're going to come to you and be like, so how come you look so awesome and you have all this energy, and how do I get me some of that?
Oh yeah, people ask me all the time how they can help the cause, and I lead by example. When I first started doing it, my father's a lawyer, and he's got some pull in Canada, and I thought he was going to get me committed, for it. But there's no denying my results. Yeah. And I've literally had a doctor come into the office screaming, saying, "We sent you this patient for nephrology, for kidneys. What the hell are you doing?" I sent them to an endocrinologist for their diabetes, and we actually had to threaten to call the police. Oh. There was a really aggressive situation. Well, 6 months later, he came into the office with flowers, apologized, and asked if I would take him on as a patient because his A1C hit 6.4. And he said at first he just didn't understand, but he couldn't deny the result that his patient was getting. Just absolutely couldn't. And he said, at that point he had to put his ego aside, and he actually had to start learning about this. And when he did, it made sense. So for everybody out there, if we really want to make change, you have to lead by example. You have to stick to it. You have to build up some thick skin when it comes to working with your healthcare professionals, and you have to show them over time and be dedicated to it. And also change the way that you do some grocery shopping too, and how you order food at restaurants. I was recently traveling with friends, and we ordered tea, and they brought a cookie on our little tea plate, that our teacup was on, and our friend collected all the cookies and gave them back to the server and said, "We don't eat these, thank you." And said, if enough people start doing that, they're going to stop bringing people tea with cookies. So leading by example, and sort of changing what you're buying at the grocery store, changing how often you're going for gross, unhealthy fast foods. That's what's really going to cause change. So keep leading by example. I'm so happy you showed your doctor. Carnivore is something that scares the crap out of a lot of doctors. I don't know. Sorry, I didn't mean to swear.
We're okay here. We're cash.
But it really scares people. But it works really well for women in particular. Not that it doesn't with men, but I find that it's just really powerful tool with women who have autoimmune conditions. And there are so many people with undiagnosed autoimmune conditions out there. It's sort of a general default to try a woman now on carnivore if they're open-minded to it, and just assume that they have subclinical hypothyroidism at this point. If their TSH is even slightly, above 1, and it works really well. So all the power to you for sticking up and showing it to your doctor. That's awesome.
I'm so excited to hear you say that, because I'm going to tell you, a year ago, and I'm basing this on feedback that I have gotten from my friends and my followers that have reached out to me. A year ago, they were hearing carnivore is not good for women, especially if you have any metabolic issues. I had several people reach out to me. I'm sure you remember last year when Dr. Ken started his carnivore challenge in August. And I had a lot of people reach out to me and say, you know what, Dori, I want to try carnivore, but everyone is freaking out on me. I'm getting such bad feedback. And all I could say to them is follow your heart. If you feel like you want to try it and do it. And I got so many people come back to me and say, thank you. You're the only person who encouraged me and said, try it if you want to. So let's close up talking a little bit about the change in that. Is that just general knowledge? Are people just becoming more aware, or has something actually changed in the last year that I haven't heard about?
I think people, like for me, when about in the last year, 18 months, patients have come in and said, listen, we want to try carnivore. You know, Amber O'Hearn's getting out there speaking more. You've got Ken Berry on it. You've got Sean Baker being more vocal and active online. And what is my attitude is, what is the harm for trying it for 30 days? Right? Try it for a month. Let's see results you get. Like, who the hell knows with nutrition? I don't think anybody knows anything, really at this point. We're all figuring out nutrition right now, what works for certain individuals. So it was just, for me, I wouldn't say, I never had a negative opinion about it. And I said to the patients, sure, if you want to try it, I see you once a month. We order blood tests once a month. Let's give it a go. Some people didn't notice any difference, and their labs didn't change. Some people liked the convenience of it. Some people found it made it easier to fast because it restricted, things that they could snack on when they were out, like nuts, for example, that were problematic. So it was a great tool to help with fasting, a carnivore diet. But women in particular, with ones that we suspected, especially that had autoimmune, and ones that had autoimmune issues like Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, they just started kicking butt. Like, I had this one patient of mine, I couldn't get her A1C down from 9. Like, it was killing me. And she was fasting like a machine. She was eating so clean. And I didn't know what to do. And I said, try carnivore. And her A1C literally went from like 9.3 to 6.2 in like 3 months. Like, it was outrageous. Like, she said her doctor couldn't believe it. Jason couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. I've never seen a change like that. The amount of weight that she's lost. And, her and I are friends on Facebook. And she posted this, like, it was literally like 30 days, 60 days, something like that. Just a couple of months, photo before and after. And she looked like 20 years younger. It was really wild. So, I think, we were just saying, like, you have to lead by example. I think, there are people like myself and like Jason and many more who are open-minded and let our patients do it. And like my one patient, share her story about her A1C, share her before and after photos, put it online, share with her doctor her other doctor what she's doing. I mean, that's going to change people's opinions. So I think it's just seeing the results. Like you said, we can't deny the results that we're seeing. So it's obviously a dietary plan that works really well for some people, if not lots of people.
Well, thank you so much for hanging out with us. And to wrap up, why don't you let everybody know where they can find you online? So your Instagram, your Facebook, if you've got YouTube, give us all the deets so we can follow you around like crazies.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can find me on Instagram. My handle is Megan, Megan. My parents kept it super simple, so it's Megan J. Ramos. Okay. And same thing on Facebook. I think I'm Megan IDM. Okay. Or you can just search Megan Ramos, and we have an IDM program, email and Twitter and Facebook as well. We have a Facebook group called the Obesity Code Network, and then our website is idmprogram.com.
Excellent. Well, I am super excited to meet you on Saturday. I can't wait. I'll tackle you for a hug. I'm hosting a kid zone, so feel free to pop by and color a picture. We're grown-ups. We could still color and relax.
My husband says I just turned 35, and he said, I don't know. It's like you're 5 years old, but you're going on 35. So
do you know what?
I'll come find you and do some coloring.
The older I get, the more I love the things from my youth. And I'm like, I feel like I'm regressing. I love the old music I used to love. I love doing the things I used to love. And maybe that's part of weight loss. You know, I enjoy things like running again and swinging on swings that don't dig into my hips till I cry.
It's fun. I like having this much. I think I have as much energy at 35 than I did at 5.
Right?
If only I had it in my 20s. Maybe it's a good thing I did it.
Where would you be now, Megan? Where would you be? Who knows?
I don't know.
Have an awesome day. Thank you so much for your time. It was amazing to meet you, and I can't wait to hang out again soon.
Yes, I'll see you soon on Saturday, and thanks for having me, and it was nice to meet everybody who's watching today.
Thanks, doll. Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, so that's our morning. We got an early start. We have lots on the go today. We are also going to talk to Mitch Holden, the creator and the brains behind Great Canadian Keto Conference. We're going to get an update on all of the speakers, all of the vendors. We're going to talk about what we're going to have Saturday. And here's a secret. Just right before I popped on with Megan, like literally 3 minutes before 8, I posted a giveaway on my page. So go check it out. I teamed up with Keto Alice, and we're going to give away a $25 Chalk Zero gift card. So go check out the post. The way you're going to win it is by watching tomorrow's Airport Live. We're going to go to the airport. We're going to chat with strangers. I'm going to be Dori in public, and we're going to hang out. And if you watch and comment on the live, you got a chance to win $25 worth of Chalk Zero, which is like just only fantastic. I'm gonna put that out there and say, if you haven't ever had any of that in your face, put it in your face. It's fantastic. So I'm going to sign out. I'm going to get my house all ready and off for the day. I will see you guys at 2 p.m. Mountain. We're hanging out with Mitch, and I'm going to figure out how I'm going to give away these tickets. I need your guys' help. I don't have any Toronto local friends yet. I'm making hundreds on Saturday. I've already earmarked that. Like hundreds, perhaps thousands. I don't know how many people will be there, but if there's thousands, I intend to make that many friends. But as of today, I don't really have any Toronto friends. And I have tickets to give them. Help! I have sets of tickets to give away. So if you guys know anyone who's Toronto local who could come and they want tickets, let me know. Help. I can't have free tickets and not give them away. That's just wrong. So if you guys know anyone who needs to go, wants to go, would love to go, wants to hug me, because I'm just going to put that down as a prerequisite for my contest. If you win the tickets, you must hug me. It's not that bad. I give good hugs. So I'm going to sign out. I shall see you guys later. Let us get back our song. And I can't wait to hang out with you guys later today. And don't forget, I'm going to be there. Let me know if you're going to be there. Bye, guys.